You ever feel just overwhelmed by the state of the world? It's so easy to get pessimistic, but what if I told you there's a powerful, historical reason to be incredibly optimistic? Today, we're going to look at a real-world blueprint for hope, one that comes from one of humanity's greatest ever victories. So let's dive in and start by trying to understand the wild paradox of the time we live in. And this quote from public health hero Larry Brilliant, man, it just nails it. It really does feel like we're standing on a knife's edge, right? On one side, you've got these immense challenges, but on the other, you've got possibilities we've literally never seen before. So here's what that tension looks like. On one hand, yeah, we're facing enormous threats. Climate change, the risk of brand new pandemics, poverty that just won't quit. But then you look at the other side, and we're seeing this incredible wave of opportunity, and it's being driven by amazing new technologies and a whole new breed of leader. And this new breed of entrepreneur, this is a huge piece of the puzzle. We're seeing people achieve just massive success. Think about folks like Pierre Omidyar from eBay or the Google founders. And then, while they're still young, they pivot their incredible resources towards solving humanity's biggest problems. It's a total game changer and a huge reason for hope. To really get a handle on just how powerful this kind of focused effort can be, we've got to go back in time to one of history's greatest fights. And that fight, it was against smallpox, an enemy that was ancient, absolutely terrifying, and had been shaping our history for thousands and thousands of years. Okay, get ready for this number. Just try to let it sink in. In the 20th century alone, 500 million people died from smallpox. No, that's not a typo. 500 million. The scale it's just staggering. And if that number isn't mind-blowing enough, try this on for size. Smallpox killed more people than all the wars in recorded history combined. Let that sink in. This wasn't just some disease. It was, without a doubt, the deadliest monster humanity had ever faced. And its reign of terror, man, it was ancient and absolute. We're talking biblical plagues kind of stuff. It killed Pharaoh Ramses V, and we actually know this because scientists literally found the virus still preserved on his mummy. How wild is that? It haunted humanity from the dawn of civilization all the way into the modern era. But humanity decided to fight back, and what came next was one of the biggest, most incredible things we have ever done. This was a war, all right, but it wasn't fought with guns or bombs. It was fought with pure, relentless grit and an unbelievable amount of coordination. So to really understand this fight, you've got to understand what was at stake. Let's just look at India in 1974. At the height of it all, 188,000 kids died in one country in 1 year. The human cost was just absolutely devastating. The reality on the ground, it's hard to even talk about. People who were there, they described these scenes of just unimaginable horror. I mean, they said there were places where the rivers actually stopped running because they were so choked with bodies. It's just grim. So how do you even begin to fight something like that? Well, in India alone, they put together an army of 150,000 people. And their mission was simple but huge. Go door to door to every last home and hunt this virus down. And the scale of this thing, it is just mind-boggling. I mean, get this. Over just 20 months, this army made over 1 billion house calls. 1 billion. They went to every single house, every single month, looking for any sign of this disease. It was, hands down, the biggest public health mission in the history of the world. And behind all this brute force was an absolutely brilliant strategy. They called it the circle of immunity. The idea was genius. Find every single case of smallpox on the entire planet, all at the same time. And once you found one, you'd rush in and vaccinate everybody in a ring around that person. You'd build this firewall of immunity that the virus just couldn't break through. You see, they weren't just treating it, they were trapping it, cornering it. And this incredible planet-wide effort, it all led to a moment that honestly should give every single one of us goosebumps. Because humanity won. The result was, wow, just staggering. So you have cases in India peaking in 74, higher than they'd ever been. And then they just plummeted. I don't mean they went down. I mean they went to zero. Absolute zero. A monster that had haunted us for millennia was gone, just wiped off the face of the planet. So how on earth did they pull this off? Well, it wasn't just the vaccine. Yeah, the science was key, of course, but you also needed this incredible will, this just relentless drive to see it through. And maybe most important of all, you needed collaboration on a scale nobody had ever seen before. Those are the magic ingredients, right there. Think about this. People from 50 different countries, we're talking at the absolute peak of the Cold War, mind you, put all their politics, all their divisions aside. They came together and formed the biggest army in UN history. And they weren't united to fight each other. They were united to fight a common enemy of all humankind. And this is where it all comes together. Because this incredible story, it's not just a history lesson. It's a blueprint. It's the playbook for how we can take on the massive challenges we're facing right now, today. Larry Brilliant calls this his favorite slide, and it's easy to see why. Look at this. Smallpox didn't give a damn if you were a pharaoh, a king, an emperor, a queen. It didn't care how rich you were or how powerful you were. If you weren't immune, you were on the list. Period. And that's the big lesson, isn't it? At the end of the day, when we face these huge global threats, whether it's a virus or climate change, there's nowhere to hide. No amount of money or power can buy you an escape hatch. We're all in the same boat. We share a common fate. You know, it's just a biological fact. Genetically speaking, you and I and everyone else on this planet are over 99% identical. All the things that seem to divide us, they're in that tiny little fraction of a percent. What unites us is so much bigger than what separates us. So we take that blueprint, right? Science, will, and collaboration, and we point it at the big problems on our plate today. We've already proven it works. This is how we can really go after climate change. It's how we can stop the next pandemic in its tracks. It's how we start bridging the gap between rich and poor. The framework is there. We just have to use it. And this is why this story matters so much. The victory over smallpox is the ultimate cure for pessimism. Seriously, if we as a species can come together and wipe out our most ancient, our most deadly enemy, what can't we do? It's proof, it's absolute proof that when we actually work together, the impossible just isn't. So the next time you feel that pessimism creeping in, I want you to remember this. Remember the billion house calls. Remember that global army that chose to cooperate instead of fight. It shows us that our biggest problems aren't just roadblocks. No, they're invitations. Invitations to pull off our greatest triumphs. So the only real question left is, what are we going to conquer next?